We had toured Amsterdam and were ready for the main feature of our vacation, a river cruise up the Rhine River. Now, I've only taken one long ride on the Mississippi River, and that was years ago when I hitched a ride on the Delta Queen from Natchez up to Vicksburg. The Mississippi, along the border of our state at least, is mostly tree-lined with not a lot of signs of civilization until you come to a city, and then there's just Natchez and then Vicksburg, or something like a grain elevator with river access. Whereas the Rhine flows through village after village and city after city as we travel south through the Netherlands and Germany and France to its source in Switzerland. Now, maybe one reason why there's so little signs of humans along the banks of our Mississippi compared to the Rhine, they've had a few thousand years head start on us. I'm reminded of how young our nation is every time I go someplace like Europe. The Romans came to this part of the world a couple of thousand years ago, and they had to conquer people who had been here for thousands of years before them. And to some extent, all of those prior occupants have left their mark on the landscape. Every time we stopped and toured, showed off their Roman wall or Roman road or something, stuff that was here centuries before we were here, where we are. Now, for instance, the cathedral that stands taller than anything else in Cologne, Germany, was started in the 1200s. City Hall in Jackson, by comparison, was built in the 1800s. And City Hall is one of the oldest buildings in Mississippi, and there are Roman ruins that are a lot older than the Cologne Cathedral. Hilltops are dotted with medieval castles along the way. The romantic side of me makes me think of days of old and knights and fair damsels and the occasional dragon that needed slaying. Then the practical side of me thinks how much I'd hate to have to heat and cool one of these things. The architecture is fascinating. Small villages with houses and churches and castles stacked up the mountains like pages from a history book telling who was here and who influenced the culture at the time they were built. The Rhine is a broad river, except at one point. Now, don't press me for exactly where, but at that point, evidently there's some undercurrent that makes it hard to control the boats, or at least wooden boats powered by sails back in the old days, because there used to be a bunch of shipwrecks here. They blamed it on the Lorelei, a lovely maiden who, like the sirens of mythology, charmed sailors and distracted them until their boats crashed on the rocks at the bottom of the cliff. That legend came in handy as we passed the spot because we have a granddaughter named Lorelei, and just so happened it was her birthday that day, and I texted her a picture of the statue and told her about her name being on a big sign on the Rhine River in Germany. Hope it made up for not sending a birthday card. It is really an old place, the towns along the Rhine River, and later on we'll go ashore and tour some of them and listen to their stories of wars and floods and festivals and what have you. But today, we'll just kick back and float. Sort of wish I had a fishing pole. But I guess that's just the Mississippi River coming out in me.